Good evening. Does anyone here remember this episode of Deep Space Nine, Season 4, Episode 25, titled Body Parts? This episode spawned one of the weirdest plot lines in all of Star Trek history, and even in my original watch-through of the series, I found this episode and its successor episode to be really strange and out of left field. This one revolved around Chief O'Brien's wife, Keiko O'Brien, getting injured in a shuttle on her way back from the Delta Quadrant while carrying their unborn son, Yoshi. As a result of her injury, Yoshi was liable to termination via miscarriage, but thankfully Dr. Bashir was on board, and with some quick thinking, he came up with the idea of removing Keiko's unborn baby and placing it inside the womb of Major Kira via the use of a transporter. This episode apparently was the worst rated of the entire series at the time of its creation, and you could really tell why. Without any context, it just seems like they may have arbitrarily just decided to make Major Kira pregnant and also put her in a situation where she's the surrogate mother to a couple that's just like weirdly intimate with her. In this episode, Keiko O'Brien gets herself in this situation by traveling to the damn Gamma Quadrant to observe fungus during an intergalactic war while carrying a child. Now, I'm sorry, I know I am just a stupid young white male who knows nothing of motherhood, but doesn't it just kind of seem a little dangerous and irresponsible? It's paramount to going on a cruise to a foreign land where war is happening, and the only reason why you're there is to observe some strange mushrooms for your job that, let's be honest, can totally wait till after you've given birth to your kid.
Repel to get fungus.
Then there's this scene where Keiko implies that she'll never be content with the amount of time she gets to spend with her baby as long as Major Kira is carrying it. So they basically pressure Major Kira into moving in with them into a confined space.
We have an idea that we'd like you to consider.
It's just an idea. We don't want to pressure you.
I understand. What is it?
Go ahead.
Especially since this is all the result of her own actions, Keiko should honestly just be grateful that her baby is even alive at this point. Like, it's low-key her fault. Space travel, especially aboard a small runabout, can be crazy dangerous.
Oh, I'm being selfish. I should be grateful that my baby's alive and well.
This personally is my problem with the episode, as this whole plot line makes Keiko rather unlikable, and it also just creates this absolutely crazy weird dynamic between the Chief and Major Kira. Keiko is way too open to allowing Chief O'Brien to do very intimate things with the Major, whether it be giving her a massage or helping her get out of the bath and get dressed. Like, I'm sorry, but what? There's a follow-up episode, Looking for Parmak in All the Right Places, Season 5, Episode 3. This is the episode where Jadzia and Worf officially get together for the first time, but it's also the episode where after a little bit of time spent together sharing quarters, it's confirmed that Chief O'Brien and Major Kira develop intimate feelings for each other, basically because Chief gives one too many friendly shoulder rubs and catches feelings. Like, these two almost smooch it out on a runabout where they were going to be on their way to a romantic and relaxing getaway that was approved by none other than Keiko herself. Now I'm starting to think Keiko's doing this all on purpose and that she's realizing that she can get rid of both her man and her baby at the same time. Like, Keiko, do you really want to research mushrooms that badly? By the end of the episode, these two are dangerously close to cheating on their significant others and having an affair, and it's always been one of those things that tripped me out. Of all people, why Chief O'Brien and Kira? Why were all their interactions in these two episodes so weird and awkward, and why do they really make you feel bad for the Major? Aside from the two really fun Ferengi plotlines, these episodes are filled with some high-tier cringe, and on my most recent watch-through of Deep Space Nine, I actually stopped to think, why did they think this was a good idea to produce such an arbitrary and strange plotline? Why did they make Kira Nerys pregnant with Chief O'Brien's baby? Were they trying to spread awareness to people about alternative birthing methods and surrogate mothers? As if anybody really ever gave a shit? Then I just came to the conclusion that in reality, the only possible answer is that they literally wanted to make Major Kira a mom. I theorized that they were trying to cater and appeal to weird sickos like me that are into MILFs. They made Major Kira into some premium milk because without it, she's just regular old Major. But if you make her preggers and slap Chief O'Brien's baby in there, then she's Mommy Kira. I just thought that somebody in the writer's room was a little bit horny, was a little bit too into MILFs, and they needed an excuse to make Nana Visitor in some fashion hotter than she already was? Okay, but jokes aside, then I did some actual research and I learned quite a lot. There's actually a very real and valid reason these episodes were produced, and to longtime viewers of the series is probably common knowledge, but to a knucklehead like me who wasn't even born when these episodes aired, I actually learned a lot from looking into it. They produced these episodes to deal with the fact that outside of the show, Nana Visitor had gotten pregnant with fellow co-star Alexander Siddig's baby, which is bonkers. I had no idea Dr. Bashir and Major Kira were fucking off camera. They apparently were married and had a multiple year relationship, which is out of this world that I'm only learning this now. I've watched this series like 3 times. I also learned that Alexander Siddig has a crazy long name too. They were exploring multiple options on how to implement Nana Visitor's baby bump into the series, from writing that she had one with Shakar to just shooting the scenes above the waistline like they did with Beverly Crusher in a previous Next Generation season. This, however, would have limited Major Kira a lot and really messed with her screen time, and Nana Visitor was even scared that her character might just get the Tilly or Kes treatment and be written out altogether. So they decided to come up with the idea of transporting Yoshi into Major Kira and making her a surrogate mother, and also in the process almost breaking up the O'Brien family and marriage for good. Luckily, that didn't happen though, and aside from the Chief just being jealous with Shakar during Yoshi's birth episode, not much more comes from this, which I'm very thankful for, because this plot line is already far weirder than the time Trip got pregnant on this one episode of Enterprise. What do you guys think of this episode personally? If you are a longtime viewer and you may have even potentially watched this episode when it aired, what were your first impressions and what did you think at the time? I just wanted to make this quick video for all the people out there who maybe didn't know this information like me. Hopefully you learned something new. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to slap a like on it. If you're enjoying any of the content that you see on the channel, I'd be very flattered if you're to subscribe. Join the Discord for discourse on all of the topics discussed on this channel. The link is in the description of every video. And with all that being said, hope you guys have a good rest of your week and be sure to live long and prosper.